So if you see the two forks, so this is actually a PLA fork, and this is our cornstarch fork. They look like they're both would be usable. This is actually stiffer, and ours is a little bit more pliable, right? One of the main reasons I wanted to use cornstarch versus other materials in the very beginning was cornstarch doesn't break. So I have young kids, and we've all had the fork that snaps and pokes your kid. So cornstarch doesn't. You can bend, but yet you can bring it back, and it's still relatively strong enough to eat your meat.
Yeah, and this is the one that you now see out.
Yeah, so you
and
see
it does
this.
say compostable on it.
Yeah.
Right.
So this here, 57 degrees, but if I were to do that to this, yeah. So that's one of the things that I didn't want to do, because we know kids bite forks, we know younger kids do all that, and we don't want them swallowing any of these pieces. That was number one. Number two, the material itself is different. This here, you can bend it. It's very pliable, but yet it retains its strength. So it's easy to use with adults, older people especially, right, as well as young kids.
Now the temperatures of, like you said,
that's where it's
right?
not as, so the cornstarch, where what we gave up in return for some of these other benefits was the cornstarch, it can't withstand 100 degrees Celsius, which is boiling water temperature, for a sustained period of time. It will literally start breaking down. PLA will, and that's the biggest difference, is what temperature settings that it can withstand. So the cornstarch can't withstand that. But we felt like no one's eating, I'm not using this to stir hot coffee. I'm using this to eat teriyaki chicken. It's okay, it's not 100 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
Right, so we picked this instead, and we use this, and we've been using this ever since, and people like it. We get compliments all the time of how much they like our product versus other things out there. And we know the other thing that we knew, this breaks down substantially easier in everyday real world environment.
Yeah, so if you're doing not the commercial grade
57 degrees Celsius, remember that's the magic temperature.
And then versus regular,
this here just every
it
day
happens to just go into the bushes somewhere or whatever.
The tree overgrows it over time, some worms get to it, some bugs get to it. You're good.
All right, well that explains the utensils for some of you, because when you look at it, you wouldn't know. I mean, I don't think you would know.
So I tell people, how do you know the difference between plastic and cornstarch, even PLA and cornstarch? Bend it. If it snaps, it's not cornstarch.
Yeah, okay.
Real simple. I mean, that's a simple KISS test.
Yeah. And then pretty soon, I guess you'll have your name on it, so that would be a good
so people will know. The strength of the bowl itself hasn't changed.
Yeah,
and
the water's already like getting almost lukewarm.
Yeah, and that was boiling hot water.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally was boiling hot water.
Yeah.
So, and that just goes to show how it's gonna hold up. And so, And I'll give a quick shout out to Dave Randall at Home 1G School, Buddhist school. And when we were coming up with this years ago, he and I were kind of doing all these tests. But hey, this doesn't work. Hey, I put this in here, the thing fell apart, kind of thing. So he kind of worked with me because he had access to all beef stew, curry, chicken katsu for his everyday school. So we put some in there, and to the point now where he only uses our stuff and for his school. He's a headmaster of the school, and he's like, because I know if a 4-year-old kid can hold a plate or a clamshell with your things and nothing falls apart, I'm okay with it. So we use that as like the litmus test, right? Because it's easy for us adults to be very careful and hold it, but go tell a 4-year-old to not turn his plate sideways and talk to his friends and tilt it and everything else. So if they can do it, I think we're okay.
And what about these clamshells? So for people that don't know, clamshells are basically the plate lunches.
Box orders,
think of a plate lunch in a styrofoam box.
Yeah.
These are the ones that are now paper.
Yes.
So we have, right in front of me is the tan looking ones.
Yes.
Those ones are the ones that you see
at Costco
everywhere, mostly
much,
now.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're on a neighbor island that has moved away from styrofoam completely with their styrofoam band, that's pretty much what you're seeing in all of the stores now, the restaurants.
Pretty much.
And then on your side,
the lighter ones, yeah.
The lighter ones, and that's the Malama brand.
Correct.
And
So,
then tell us what you did here.
So we basically, if you look at it, and I don't know how well this is gonna come out because we really don't have food in it, but if you open it up, you can kind of see and feel the underneath and how it does feel like it's kind of slowly falling apart. Is the thickness of it, right? Where if you feel ours, there's no difference underneath. So
the top and the bottom is
pretty tight. It's solid, right? And again, I'm not here to bang on anyone else's product, but to see the comparative difference, right? So splash off all the water here. So the funny thing about this is pretty strong, but if you rip it, it rips pretty easily, right?
So I don't know how many straws he's eaten so far, but he's probably gonna have to eat a whole bunch more.
Everyone's asking like, "Are you serious, man? You're eating a straw?" I'm like, look, I haven't gone to the hospital to pump my stomach out, and there's nothing wrong with me. So it's been okay.
Here, this is the.
Yeah, it's already coming apart.
It's already coming apart, and it's been in here for over half an hour, I think.
Yeah.
Usually you're sitting here hitting the
ice.
ice, and it's getting all mushy at the bottom.
It comes pruned out at the end.
Yeah, like literally, there's nothing.
Yeah.
It's really not. I don't mean. It's almost like sandpaper-ish.
It feels like very fine sandpaper. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of people don't like the paper straw because there is a funny paper taste to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't. When I was drinking out of it, I didn't taste.
Yeah. Well, you're not supposed to.
I'm just drinking water. It tastes like water.
It should taste like water.